Today's meeting is all about caddying here in West Michigan. So First Tee, you know our program, we're about teaching values and life skills through the game of golf. We do not run a caddy program, but we do partner and provide information to 4 local clubs that have really strong caddy programs. And so we're really fortunate to have many of those 4 clubs represented here on the call. So you're going to hear right from the person that runs their caddy program how caddy program works there. So I'm going to share a slide deck with you so you can see what we're talking about, because caddying may be a foreign concept to you. So I'm going to kind of give you the nitty gritty, and then we're going to hear a little bit from the local caddy directors at local country clubs here in West Michigan. So bear with me. You're going to see me like floating above a presentation. It's a little unnerving, so bear with me. All right. So this is the first time I've done this, but here's the basic outline of what we're going to cover today. The basics of caddying. Where can I caddy? Why should I caddy? The challenges to caddying, as well as an opportunity for you to ask any questions that you have based on the presentation, or if any of the folks on the call are a part of it, that they can also chime in. They may leave before then, but we'll try to answer your questions. So here are the basics of the concept of caddying. As a caddy, you are the keeper of the golf clubs. You don't play the game, but you walk along with someone playing the game. You dress the part, which means exactly what it sounds like. You dress as if you're a golfer. You should know the basics of the game of golf. Many of you have already been introduced to many of those basics through First Tee, but there are some specifics around caddying. Pre-round preparation, so having some golf balls in your bag, a wet towel, some golf tees, that kind of thing, preparation for your group. Being really careful, golf course knowledge, that's something you'll accumulate as you caddy more and more. And then being careful where you stand, making sure you're in a position where you're not going to get hit by your player, but also that you're ready to walk and move quickly once everybody's ball is in play. And then keeping up with pace of play. This is the number one thing I hear from players with new caddies, is making sure that the caddy is out in front and going faster than the player, so the player is not waiting on the caddy. These are general rules in the caddy world, but speak when spoken to. Most of the time players are out with friends or colleagues when they're out on the golf course and have things to discuss. So just you're there if it's needed. Be ready with your player's club. If their ball's on the green, you hand them a putter. If you know they're going to the tee box, they're going to need a driver, that type of thing. As you learn and grow as a caddy, you might be prepared to give advice on club selection if asked. Keeping your eye on the ball to help find it if it goes left or right. Knowing the distance to the hole. These are some of the things players might ask you when you're caddy, asking what's the yardage. So knowing where the sprinkler heads are out on the golf course and identifying where the where the pin is that day. And keeping the ball clean, the clubs clean, fixing divots and ball marks out on the golf course. So some of these concepts are new to a few of you because you've just joined First Tee. Some of you, this is old hat. You've been doing this with us for a long time and you kind of know the rules. Couple more things: raking bunkers, tending the pin. So if a player's off the green or a long putt, and trying to keep things positive. Golfers tend to get frustrated, just like you get frustrated when you try to play golf. So trying to keep a positive mindset so your player enjoys themselves and you're there kind of to be an extra ear if they're struggling. So I do have a link here of some great information on caddying. I'll send that out after the meeting so you have a chance to take a look at that. So just some real basic overviews of what being a caddy means. You're carrying the golf bag at almost every one of these clubs. You're just single bagging. You're carrying one bag for one member at the club, and you're out there for 4 hours, walking 18 holes with them, and carrying their bag in an effort to make some money, build some relationships. So a couple things that are important. At our introductory sites, the dress code is pretty relaxed, but at each of these clubs, the dress code, there's an expectation for dress code. So dressing appropriately at the club means a collared shirt, khaki or non-denim shorts, non-athletic shorts. No denim or joggers are allowed, but kind of what you would expect a school uniform to be is a similar expectation for caddies. Most clubs also offer their own caddy bib, so you can hold things like tees and pencils and divot repair tools and stuff, and you can put that over your collared shirt. So that's just real basic stuff. We're going to get into some of the whys that I think you should caddy in a little bit, but I don't want to keep our folks waiting on the call. So I saw Daniel, I saw Ryan from Kent. I'm not sure if Anthony's made the call yet or not, but I know Juan, who is our representative from Blythefield, had a last minute scratch. So he was unable to make it because he's got a sick kid. So I'm going to kind of fill in for him and share a little bit about Blythefield's program. For those of you that might be on the northeast side of Grand Rapids, Blythefield is going to be the best place to go from a geographic perspective. So I'll roll right into them. Juan Martinez is their head golf professional. Blythefield is a private club, just like all of these other courses. So what that means is you and I just can't walk in and go play or pay to play. You have to be a member that pays dues. And so Blythefield is a private club on the northeast side. Some of you might be familiar with the fact that they host the Women's LPGA Classic, the Minor LPGA Classic every year. It's a beautiful club on the northeast side near West River Drive and the Beltline. So on that northeast side, so if you're coming from Rockford, if you're coming from the northeast side of Grand Rapids, Blythefield would be a great place to be. So here are some facts that Juan gave me about the Blythefield event and some upcoming dates that are really critically important if you're interested in caddying at Blythefield. They had 2 Evans Scholars in 2020. We'll get into what that means in a little bit, but it's a big-time college scholarship that caddies are eligible for. In their system, caddies are actually connected to members once they join. So they'll connect you to a handful, 1 or 2 members that are interested in taking caddies, and the members actually communicate directly with the caddies when they're interested in taking them out. So you may receive a text or a call from a member saying, "Hey, I'm planning on going out Saturday and I need a caddy. Can you caddy for me?" That type of thing. They'll be able to share more about how that system exactly works this Saturday. So their caddy meeting, mandatory caddy meeting for anybody interested in caddying at Blythefield, is actually this Saturday from 9 to 10:30 a.m. And you would need to notify Juan before attending. So I'll circle back to the last slide if you want to quick sketch down his email address. You'll have to know, he let me know that they currently have 100 people attending this caddy breakfast this upcoming week, which he was pretty blown away by, but shows the interest in the caddy program that they have out at Blythefield. So what Juan's going to do with 100 caddies, I'm not quite sure, but that's the interest and the demand and interest out there. Great club, great course. I know a lot of members out there, including one of our staff members, Chris Ashley, who I think I saw on the call. Past that initial caddy meeting, there are 4 dates that they expect you to be part of training. So this is kind of on course or on the facility training. You can see those dates: April 23rd, 24th, 30th, and May 1st from 3 to 5 p.m. are the expected hours of caddy training. So I will circle back quickly. So if anybody wants to take down Juan's email and say, "Hey, I'd like to come this Saturday to the caddy training, caddy meeting." Once again, that meeting on Saturday, that's an informational meeting. There's no expectation that you absolutely will sign up, but you can hear more from Juan and his team on what that looks like. Plus, there is a free breakfast. So if you like free food, you can head out to Blythefield and check it out on Saturday. His email, jmartinez@blythefieldcc.org. All right, is Anthony on the call? Right. Going once, going twice. All right, so Anthony has shared with me a little bit as well with Cascade Hills Caddy program. So give you geographic bearings. Cascade Hills Country Club is on Cascade Road in between the Beltline and East Paris on the southeast side of Grand Rapids. It's a very convenient location right off of 196, so pretty easy to get to. A long and storied history at their club, great golf course as well. So they do things a little bit differently. They actually have an online training that Anthony would send to you. So you do kind of like a webinar series of getting trained and up to speed on what it looks like to be a caddy. And once you've completed that training, the next step is you'd schedule a time to do the training with Anthony on course. So much less on course training with Cascade Hills. They kind of lean on that online training that's provided by their software provider. But they use that program to actually schedule out any opportunities for caddies. So my understanding is they actually run an app that is a caddy software, so you can see on that app when there are potential shifts available that are coming up. And so that is the way they run their caddy program. It was a new initiative last year, and it seemed to be going very well. So they're going to stick with it again this year. So you can see every club does this slightly different, same concepts, but maybe just a different way to get there. Saturdays, Sundays, and Thursday afternoons and evenings are the best days to caddy out there. So Saturdays and Sundays during the day, Thursday afternoons and evenings is men's league. So that's when they have a lot of interested members in taking caddies. So thinking about your schedule this summer and what else you might be doing, those are kind of the days that they see the most interest in taking a caddy. So something to be aware of. We've had a few caddies at both Blythefield and Cascade Hills have some good success in their caddy programs. All right, so I'm going to undo myself from this shared screen, and we'll let Ryan kind of take it over because I know Ryan is on the call. So I'll back out and we'll kind of hear from Ryan, and then we'll throw back up the slides. So Ryan, go ahead and take it away, man. Ryan's having some audio issues. He'll figure it out soon. I'm sure he's done a million of these. So we got 6 people waiting in the lobby. Sorry, I missed that. Hi to those joining the call. Sorry about letting me in a little late. Ryan Bear is going to share a little bit about the program at Kent Country Club. I'm gonna, if you can mute yourself as you come into the call, I'm gonna actually shift over. Just keep talking when you have a chance, Ryan, and test running yours. We'll let Daniel go first, and then we'll circle back to you if that works for you. All right, Daniel, you go ahead, and then I'll throw up your slides afterwards. Okay, Daniel?
Yeah, can everybody hear me? Some thumbs up? All right, cool. Yeah, hi, my name is Daniel Costabader. I'm the head golf professional at Wascowan Players Club. If you do not know where Wascowan is located, it's for the most part halfway between Grand Haven and Holland. It's tucked away on a little private road. A landmark you might know is a gas station on Port Sheldon on Lakeshore Drive. If you go east about a mile from Lakeshore Drive, that's where Wascowan is located. This is my second season at the club. It's a very nice golf course, and it's a privilege for our caddies to be able to caddy with the club, meet members, work with other caddies, and get to enjoy some golf on Mondays when we open up the golf course for our caddies and our employees. So with that said, I'll jump into the slides and talk a little bit about some of that other information. Are you going to share that, Tyler? Thank you. Perfect. Yeah, so there's my email. So if you're interested, jot my email down. What we've decided to do, our caddy program is very popular. We have a lot of returnees coming back. We have a lot of interest in the caddy program this year as golf has been very popular. So what I did was I reserved some spots for first tee. So there's still 2 spots available in our caddy program for everybody who would be, well, for somebody who would be interested that's on this phone call. Shoot me an email. What I'll do is, for those who are interested, I'll just have a quick phone conversation and find the right candidates for the program. From there, we'll have our caddy training that will start in April. I believe that might be on the next slide. But yeah, going down the bullet points, the most active, sorry if you can go back, Tyler. Most active caddy days are Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. With that being said, there's also opportunities every other day of the week. Our busy season is mid-May to October. June, July, and August being even busier. So when kids are out of school, that's our busiest days, which is nice. The way that our requests happen, we do have an app, but it's the way the app works differently than what you heard about in the past from the other club. Was you would have to go and look to see what members have reserved and requested the caddies. You'd call me and say, hey, has anybody asked to caddy for this member who needs a caddy? And I'll either tell you yes or no. And if I tell you no, then the opportunity is there and we would assign you to that. So if you are eager and are making those calls and checking on the app, you're going to get more opportunities to caddy. If you're not as eager, what we do is we call people who we think are available and have done a good job as a caddy to fill those requests for the members. So it kind of works both ways. But the more eager you are to what we call is fill the loops for an opportunity to caddy, the more loops you'll get. Typically in a season, we've had our caddies do anywhere between 5 loops, which would be very, very small number of loops, to close to 60 loops in a season. Now, if you kind of do the math, that's about 4 or 4.5 hours a loop. That's quite a bit of time. But the average caddy does about 20 to 25 loops in the summer. So it's a great opportunity to make some extra money, meet a lot of members, understand more about golf, and get involved. And obviously, if you want to play some golf as well. So next slide. So there's the training dates. There's 4 weeks. I'll say the 4th week isn't a requirement. It's only if we feel the caddy didn't grow as much as we wanted them to in the first 3 weeks. We ask them to come back for a 4th week just to make sure that they're comfortable, prepared, and ready to caddy. You only need to attend one of those classes each week, and the classes go from about an hour. The first class, the second class is on-course training, 2 hours, and the third class is on-course training as well. There is a small test that we've never had anybody fail at the end of the training, but be prepared to take notes throughout the training so that you are prepared and you can kind of prove yourself at the end of that caddy training.
Awesome. Thank you, Daniel.
You bet.
Anything else that you'd like to share with folks about Wascoan? So go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, sure. I mean, Wascoan is, it's a nice private club. A lot of people kind of don't know about it. It's kind of hidden. We call it like a hidden gem on the west side of Michigan. It's ranked 18th this past year in Golf Digest for as far as best golf courses in Michigan. In years past, we've ranked in the top 5 for private clubs in Michigan. The golf course is beautiful. The members are amazing and friendly, and the job pays pretty well. I don't think we need to get into payment, but I would say if you get a job as a caddy at Wescoan, you'd be happy with what you would make.
Awesome. All right.
Oh, sorry, one other thing. So we did have two Evans scholars come from Wescoan. This past year, we actually had an Evans scholar that's going to Michigan State. So I'm sure most of you know what an Evans scholar is, but
I'll be getting
Tyler,
into that.
you're going to get into that. Okay, so I'll
Yep.
let you run through it. But it's a great opportunity, and yeah, I hope to see two of you guys out here this summer at Wescoan.
Yeah, so once again, if you're interested, I would recommend that you reach out to Daniel directly. You're welcome to loop me in if you'd like, but at the end of the day, this is Daniel's decision and the club's decision. We're just trying to be the conduit for you. So last year, I believe we ended up with three of our participants out at What's Go On. We had a few more than that started, but three that kind of finished, and that added to a handful that were already at the club. So we have several first tee participants. They're out at Wescowan, particularly if you're in the Holland community, but also we have a couple kids driving in from like kind of the Granville, Hudsonville area because it's a straight shot outside to West Olive. And then we actually have one student that's coming down from Muskegon as well. So if you're kind of more west toward the lake, from a geographic perspective, Wescowan's going to be tough to beat. It's a fantastic golf course. I know it's always one of the ones when I played college golf that I looked forward to playing and hoping that I was in the lineup for the day at Wusky. So great golf course. So yeah, Daniel, I'll get into more on like kind of the why you should caddy in the end. You're welcome to sign off, and once again, we'll share those contact information with people on the back end. So thanks, Daniel. All right, Ryan. I know you're working feverishly over there. Can you give me a holler, see if I can hear you?
Test. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, we got you.
There we go. Ready to rock. Let's go. Well, I'm
right.
calling in on the phone with a webcam on the computer here, so you guys can still see my face. Put a name to the or a face to the voice. So I think that's always important. So, yeah, if you don't mind pulling up the slides there, that just has my dates on there. But good to meet all you guys. My name's Ryan Bear. I'm the first assistant golf professional over at Kent Country Club. If anyone's familiar with downtown, I'm sure you guys pass by it all the time. We're right off of kind of right off of Plainfield and College Avenue right there if you're ever driving by that area. So, yeah, so this is my second season running the caddy program here at Kent Country Club. It's by far my favorite thing I've ever done. My boss is actually gonna delegate it to someone else, but I enjoy running the program so much that I said, no, this is one thing that I want to do, especially for the next couple of years while I'm out here. So Kent has a very rich tradition with Evans scholarship programs. Haven't had one in the last couple of years, but there's 3 currently right now, and I think there's close to 50 in the history of the Evans Scholar program. So that's something that we can kind of talk about further for those who that we see are fit into that scholarship, and that's a life-changing scholarship. I mean, that's a 6-figure scholarship that you're able to work for. So just kind of off the rip, without getting into too many deep details. We're gonna also have our first meeting, our Kent Country Club new caddy meeting on Saturday the 26th at 2 p.m. So it's the same date as that Blythefield one, but we're a little bit further away from them. So if it works a little bit better geographically for you, we'd love to have you at that one just to kind of see what that's all about. That'll only take probably about an hour tops. That'll kind of go through the expectations of everything. So like I said, the 26th at 2 p.m. if you just want to jot that down. And then please just let me know if you plan on attending. As of right now, I have about 12 new caddies that I'm planning on coming out for that event, and would love to have a couple more. So just that way I can reserve enough room in the clubhouse. So you can see the training dates right there. I've kind of ramped that up a little bit last year. It didn't seem like we had enough training dates scheduled. So easiest way to remember it is just the month of April, Saturdays, we're going to have trainings from 2 to 4. And then Tuesdays, we're going to have training from 4 to 6. And that's, if you can't get there quite by 4, we'll wait till about 4:15 and get out there at that time. So on the weekend there, 2 to 4 on the Saturdays, and Tuesdays after school, 4:15 to about 6 o'clock. One thing to note about that is we will pay you to show up for these. Anytime you show up and you want to do this, it's a little bit extra motivation. We'll give you 10, 20 bucks just for coming out and just learning the skills. And those are, we want to see you attend at least 3 of those. I prefer if you did a little more. That way you feel more comfortable. We'll never send a caddy out on the golf course if we don't see that you're ready for the experience yet. That it just helps with the member experience and making sure that you're in the right spot. So we wouldn't want you to be uncomfortable. We wouldn't want the member to be uncomfortable. So just some of the basics about our program. It's run pretty similarly to all the other clubs in the area. We're probably a little more along the lines of what Blythefield does compared to Cascade. I know Cascade has an app that it's like a third-party app that they kind of go through, but we'll get requests from members, and then we have a big group chat that we use. We'll send out and say, hey, we've got 4 loops at 9 a.m. on Sunday, and it's just a first come, first serve basis. So with that, we're also able to extend it all in cash only, so there's no need to worry about tax forms at the end of the year. So, and at the same time, all of the employees, or not employees, sorry, all the caddies here at Kent are independent contractors, so there is just to run in the back of your head there. So, let's see. What else? Just a couple random little things about Kent is if you do decide to come on out, just note that it's a pretty tough walk. They kind of advertise it as being a very friendly walk, but if anyone's ever been out to Kent, they would kind of see otherwise. A lot of steep hills, really not very many flat shots at all. So, and it's pretty easy to get to. We're pretty centrally located. So, Tyler, are you guys doing that ride sharing program again this year?
Yeah, so we'll be sharing about that opportunity as well as I check
Okay.
with you about the events. So absolutely, yep.
Gotcha. Good. I just wanted to make sure that was an awesome program that I'm sure helped out a lot last year. So, but yeah, would love to see as many of you guys come out on that Saturday. That's where we're going to cover just kind of the nitty gritty expectations of the program and whatnot. But if we get anything like we've had the last couple of years with you guys are going to fit in just well, and we very excited to provide this opportunity. It's something that I wish I was able to do when I was growing up, and I just didn't know about it. So having this exposure has been awesome.
Awesome. Well, thanks. Give me 1 second. I'm going to find you to make sure people can actually put a face with the name because I don't think we actually have that opportunity yet.
Oh.
So give me 1 second so people can see you. Oh no, that's not what I want. I want to move D2 stage. There we go. So you can wave there, Ryan. Now people should be able to see you. Thanks for working through the logistics. I know who uses WebEx, right? Like everybody else is on Zoom or something else. So sorry. Sorry for making you do that. Okay, so yeah, just some background for us at Kent. We've had a lot of success having caddies out at Kent Country Club. As Ryan mentioned, it's the closest to the city center in Grand Rapids. So one of our first tee participants has received the Evans Scholarship through caddying at Kent, and another one started their caddy career at Kent Country Club before actually getting the Evans through a partnership we have with a course out on Nantucket Island in Massachusetts. So Ryan and his former predecessors have been really good to us. Kent's on that near northeast side. So if you're coming from kind of in the city center geographically, it's going to be a really good fit for you out there. So, and you can see the dates and the times are a little different for training, but also the dates when they have need or the most interest is different than Cascade 2. I mean, those clubs are pretty close to each other. So, you know, they have more Tuesdays and Thursdays and Fridays. So kind of weekday days and then Sundays versus Cascade's busiest days are the weekends and on Thursday nights. So just little differences if you're wanting to make sure you get a bunch of rounds caddying. Those are kind of like their big days are slightly different. And once again, I'll share this presentation afterwards. There are no trade secrets in here. So you're welcome to take a look at this information afterwards while you digest. So anything else, Daniel or Ryan, that you want to share?
Yeah, it should be pretty good. One thing that Blythefield and Cascade and Kent have all kind of talked about this offseason too is just the demand for caddies. So we're kind of building a bit of a partnership, as you can say. So for our bigger events, stuff like member, our invitational, these are multi-day events where caddies are requested, and all of our clubs have kind of seen that we haven't been able to fulfill all of the caddies. So as Ty was kind of mentioning is, Kent, we have our men's league on Thursdays. Not 100% sure what Blythefield and Cascade does, but if they have needs on Wednesdays, and Wednesdays aren't a very busy caddy day for us, you can caddy at multiple places. So if you're able to attend trainings at both, and you really want to try to get as many loops as possible, that is all up to you, and we would encourage it as well. So as far as the Evans Scholar goes, I don't think they require any of the loop requirements. Once you get close to about 100 for over about a 4-year period is when they start to consider you. I don't believe that's an issue if you do, say, 60 loops at Kent and 40 loops at Blythefield. So just kind of keeping that in mind.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, so I don't know if everybody else, all the other clubs also. So we have two. If you're a caddy, you have the opportunity to walk and carry a bag, and then we also have loops to fill. That would be a 4 caddy loop. So a 4 caddy loop at Wasquan would be, there's 4 golfers and there's 2 golfers in a golf cart, and basically you ride on the back of the golf cart, and you're not carrying the bag, but you're doing all the other services for all golfers in the group. And so it takes a little bit of training to kind of get used to being able to service 4 golfers at the same time, but it's another opportunity to get some loops underneath your belt and get some rounds in. So I would say, actually ran the numbers yesterday. We had 424 rounds of golf with regular caddies, and then we had 35 4 caddy loops available. Nice thing about a 4 caddy loop is you're getting paid for 4 golfers, a little bit less per golfer, but you end up making a little bit more money because you are servicing 4 golfers. So some other fun ways of getting some loops at Wasquan.
Awesome. A couple other things that Chris, who's on our staff and is on the call, has mentioned. He's a member at Blythefield. A couple things about Blythefield. Sounds like their men's league is Wednesday nights. So I'm guessing they get some interest there on Wednesdays, which is great. As Ryan mentioned, if you were considering trying to do some caddying at 2 different clubs. And like I mentioned, the Blythefield has the Meyer LPGA Classic. Occasionally, those players need some caddies. So every once in a while, we've had kids that have gone up in the program get a chance to actually carry a bag on a qualifier event for some of those players trying to make the cut. So some cool things going on at Blythefield too. So just some other pieces, since we didn't have a representative from Blythefield to share on that. So all right, I'm gonna keep rolling unless Daniel and Ryan have anything else to share. I'm gonna get more into like kind of the benefits of caddying from my perspective. So good, guys.
I'm going to stick around, so if anyone has any questions, just feel free to stick around.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you both. If either one of you asked a Jet, thank you very much for being here. Really appreciate that. Always better to hear from you than from me trying to reshare something. So
yeah, I'll stick around as well. So same deal.
Okay, cool. So why caddy? This is coming from First Tee's perspective, why we think this is a really beneficial program for your child, for your teenager or soon to be teenager. So making money is one of those things. This is a job, and one of the beautiful things about caddying is most jobs require you to be 16 plus years old. This is one of those jobs that doesn't require that. Daniel and Ryan, at least to my understanding at your clubs, please correct me if I'm wrong, there is no age requirement. It's about the physical demands of caddying and whether you can keep up. Is that accurate at both your clubs?
Yep, that's correct. I think.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, I think our youngest last year was 12 years old. So as long as you're able to get around, you're more than welcome to caddy.
Yeah, and for like everybody listening, I mean, I just kind of Googled it real quick, but you're looking at a bag that's going to weigh about 25 pounds. Of course, it's got balls and clubs in it, and then you're walking, 4 to 6 miles and around. So something to consider.
Yeah, it's a physically demanding job. There's no doubt about that. But it is one of those few opportunities before you're 16 where you can go out and make money, but you're also doing it on a golf course. So, Daniel mentioned this. It's a huge range of what you can potentially make caddying and looping out at a club. And part of that is dependent on your service and the service you're able to provide. So if you are lagging behind, you're slow, you're not taking care of the player's needs, your tip is going to be smaller, and the vast majority of your payment is a tip in this environment. You'll get something for carrying the bag from the club, but kind of that typically 40 to 50 per round is what I've heard for caddying. But the right member on the right day, having a good day, those numbers can go up. In addition, those specific weeks, member, guest, are great opportunities to get multiple rounds, and oftentimes those players take the same caddy, so you have a chance to get in a bunch of loops, but also make a bunch of money on specific weeks and weekends of the year. This is one from a first tee perspective that I feel really strongly about. The beautiful thing about each of these clubs, they're full of people that have been pretty business successful. It costs some money to be a member at these clubs. So that means people that are there have generally done pretty well for themselves from a business perspective, have some wealth, and you're having an opportunity to build relationships with these people that just know how to do business, do life, and are leaders in their fields. And so the ability for you to connect with some of these leaders, I can't tell you the number of times I've heard from caddies getting an internship or a job from somebody they used to caddy for after they get out of college or while they're in school. And so it's this really great networking opportunity to influential members in your community. They can also serve as references for you in college applications, for work applications down the line, because they have that personal relationship with you. The other thing I can speak to as a former caddy is you're going to learn some really important social skills. You need to be able to read cues from players. What are they looking for? Are they looking for you to just carry their bag and keep quiet? Are they looking for you to be their conversational partner? You have to be able to read that. And a lot of 12 to 16-year-olds are still honing those skills. I know I certainly was at 12 to 16. I still am. But this is a great environment for you to learn those social cues and get better at them, so you will succeed and thrive in a work environment later on, when you're going out there for job interviews and into that business world. So I kind of led into that. Here are some things that you'll hone in while you're caddying specifically: managing emotion and behavior, recognizing your emotions and others' emotions and what to do with them, showing and understanding empathy, because they will be frustrated and upset at some points, and then forming those positive relationships and dealing with conflict, and then decision making. You are being asked for different information throughout the round. You've got to be able to give accurate information to them as much as you can. The better the information, the more likely your tip is to go up. This is something that I cared about when I was 12 to 17-year-old. You get physically stronger caddying. You're carrying a bag, you're walking 4 to 6 miles, as Daniel mentioned. Many of these courses are hilly, so it is not a walk in the park. It is physically demanding, and you will get stronger doing this. I know for me, when I caddied, I had to carry 2 bags each time I went out. And every summer I did it, I lost 10 to 15 pounds. And I was way leaner and stronger when I came out of the summer than I was at the beginning. So this is good stamina endurance building. If you are a golfer and you're trying to play high school golf, you're going to get physically stronger in the right places because you're doing this. If you play other sports, your lower body is without a doubt going to be stronger coming out of the season if you're caddying a bunch. Now, this is the thing that we've all alluded to. I want to give some more details on it. The Evans Scholarship is kind of that proverbial pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. We can't promise it, but it's just this fantastic opportunity that we can't offer at First Tee, but through these caddy programs, your student might have a chance to do. So some caddies are eligible for a full ride, including room and board scholarship for 4 years to the University of Michigan and Michigan State. So 2 of our own participants have gotten it in the past. Both of them started their career at Kent. One finished somewhere else, but they both started at Kent, so right here in West Michigan. This is a game-changing scholarship opportunity for kids, and it's run through the Western Golf Association. So here's kind of some details of how one is eligible for the Evans Scholarship. So there are 3 main requirements to apply for the Evans Scholarship, and I'm kind of sharing really what it takes to actually get accepted. So number 1 is academics. You can't slide into this without high academics. They say 3.4 or higher on their website. Honestly, based on the applications that I've seen when I've been behind the curtain, most of the kids have a 3.7 or above GPA at high school. So you have to be doing well academically. On top of that, they take into account your SAT scores. So we had a student actually at Kent Country Club that just missed out on the Evans Scholarship. He's received some other scholarships since, but his SAT score was pretty middling, and he wasn't able to get that score up. And so he had the GPA in that 3.6 range, but kind of a middling test score. So important that you're getting ready and prepared for that SAT down the line when you're a junior in high school and a senior in high school. This is a really critical component. Evans is very focused on providing the scholarship to families with some financial need. Household income is likely needs to be under $75,000 annually. If you have a big family, that number may go up. It's not like a hard and fast number, but it is something to be aware of. So if you're making well above that mark, the Evans Scholarship may not be possible for you, but it is one of those things that they consider is that financial need of the family. And last, and very important, and often the challenge for our first tee participants is getting 100 loops as a caddy. So 100 loops is actually, going out 100 different times for 4 hours for 18 holes out there on the golf course. From what we've seen, it's impossible to do that in less than 3 years here in West Michigan. Almost for sure you need 4 summers to be committed to doing this to get to that 100 loops. So you think about that, that's 25 loops a season, starting after your freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, that's only 3 summers. So this is why we invited several of you that are only 11 years old on the call, because really in a perfect world, you'd be starting this after your 8th grade year, your freshman year, your junior year. So you have 4 summers to actually, sophomore year and junior year, you get 4 summers to actually get to that 100 rounds. So this is a critical component. We've had kids miss out just because they didn't caddy enough. They didn't do it for long enough. Now, obviously, there's huge value to the caddy program regardless. If you're 15 on the call and you're like, oh, shoot, obviously you can still make money doing this. You're still learning through the game. You're still networking. So the Evans Scholarship is just that pot of gold. You may not be eligible for it, but it doesn't take away the value that you're going to get from caddying at one of these clubs. But it is something to consider. If you are in line and you are getting prepared and your academics are ready, I've now walked through the Evans Scholar process with 3 different families, helped them with their FAFSA, with the application, honing in the request. I know the members at each of these clubs that are part of the Evans, so they often take a look as well. So I'm here to help. As Executive Director Ryan talked about loving the caddy program, I love the caddy programs here in town because I used to be a caddy. So I know what it's like and what you can learn through it. So know that I'm here as a resource. If you guys need me or you want to talk to me, I'm happy to help. Now, here are some of the challenges. It sounds like each of these clubs has managed this differently, but at first, it's often hard to get a loop. So you're kind of at the bottom of the totem pole. You may not be a name that the members recognize. So it is critical in your first year to really stick with it. It's going to be easy to get frustrated and say, I'm not getting any loops, I'm not getting any rounds. Those numbers go up if you stick with it. So they're not, I know Ryan is doing some new things at Kent, so it sounds like you can kind of get guaranteed a loop out there, which is different, but most often that's not the case. So it's really making sure that you're available and that you are, respond quickly to texts or different messages that the clubs are sending out to you. You might be waiting at the club for a little bit for your round, and you need a plan if you don't get around. And I know each of these clubs is going to work with you on those things, but just know that this is not an easy road to start. You really got to be dedicated to this if you want to make it work. The more available you are, the more likely you are to get this. As Daniel mentioned, like, hey, if you're on the app, you're checking in, you're seeing if there are upcoming rounds, you're more likely to get rounds. With Ryan, if you're responding quick enough to the text message, if you're looking on Cascade Hills app, if you're working with Blyfield members, the more you make yourselves available and communicating, the more likely you are to get a loop. Now, this is I don't want to miss this. It's critical that the student is the one that is doing this. I know all of these caddy masters well enough to say it so they don't have to. They do not want to be talking to mom and dad. You can be part of the initial meeting, but they do not want to be talking to mom and dad when they're scheduling a loop. So this is on the student. Obviously, there may be some logistics to figure out from a transportation perspective, but the expectation is that the caddy is responding, not the mom, not the dad, not the grandpa, whomever is in the picture. Make sure that the student is owning this. I kind of already went through number 3, and I just discussed number 4, so I beat myself to the punch. Now, this is another way that we as First Tee want to help. And we've had a handful of students take advantage of this program. Trusted Rides is a ride sharing program. Think Uber, but Uber for kids. These drivers are background screened to the hilt. Many of them are former bus drivers or educators themselves. And Trusted Rides actually allows you to schedule these appointments and meetings. So one of the challenges I know has been the case is if there's only one vehicle in the family, maybe not any vehicles in the family, well, how are we going to get there? And so Trusted Rides has come alongside us and said, if any of you are on scholarship at First Tee, we've decided as a chapter that we will cover the cost for transportation. So obviously, if there is a reason that you can get a loop, but you don't have a way to get there because the car is out or it's at the shop or whatever, please know that we're willing to work with you on that to schedule the transportation. It's very important that it gets done at least 24 hours in advance. Otherwise, the cost gets very costly for us. The standard cost is typically about $15 a ride, but it depends on how close you are to the site. We've paid as much as $60 for a ride for a kid to get to a caddy loop before. So this is a program that I just want you to be aware of, even if you need to use it just in a pinch, or if you plan on trying to use it all the time for your loops. Like, we are happy to work with you and with Trusted Rides to make that happen. So please reach out to me. You obviously have my email address. If it's, hey, I'm interested in caddying, but this would have to be a component for us to make it work, that's okay. Like, we will come alongside you. That's how much we think of this program. Likewise, to make our own pitch about First Tee, this is the same case. If you're on free and reduced lunch and you're in our program and you're coming out to our 6 class sessions and you need transportation, please let us know. Like, this is what we're here for. So, hey, if you want your kid to come straight after class to the golf course to do a First Tee program, hey, you can use Trusted Rides. You don't have to try to pick them up and use it, leave work early or whatever. So just know that's an opportunity available for you for caddying, but also for First Tee programs. Transport, just a couple other things to note. Kent Country Club is on the number 11 bus route. You could bike there. Now there are scooters there. So if you're living in the city, I know Kent is within the little scooter geographic area. So kids can scoot there potentially as well. And in a pinch, I've definitely taken a kid out to a loop before. So Kent is unique in that regard because of how close it is to the city center. None of the other courses could you use public transportation to get to. But Trusted Rides would absolutely take you there. We've taken kids out to Wascoan with Trusted Rides. We've done the same to Kent and to Cascade Hills and Blythefield. So, all right, that is our presentation. I'm going to stop sharing our screen so we can see everybody's lovely face. Let me change the layout so we can see everybody. And this is the opportunity for both parents and for kids to ask myself, Daniel, or Ryan any questions that you might have about caddy program.
I have a question. Have you ever done the training with the kiddos and decided now they're just not mature enough to do this?
Yeah, we've had I've only done it for about a year now, and I've had both sides of it. I've seen where kids will show up for one training, and I'm like, yep, perfect fit. They're going to be great throughout the future. And then I've also had the other side of it where, and a lot of the times it's more the physically demanding part of it that kind of holds it back. If they can't get around, say 3 to 4 miles in a decent pace, then we would have to kind of I would never want to turn anyone away. We'll get creative and find other ways to make it work. But that limits the opportunities. It might just be a 4 caddy situation in that case where they can only back, or they're only limited to 9-hole loops. So we always try to work as close as possible, and we're never going to throw out a kid in a situation that's just not going to work. So like if there's like a big event and the kid's first year, he's only done 3 caddies, like more than likely he's not going to caddy on like the 36-hole member day where it's 8 hours and it's 36 holes and it's a lot of miles. So I try to make it as easy and as comfortable as we can for the kids. No matter how much we train them, the first loop, I can always tell how nervous they are. But that's where it comes along with just attend as many of the trainings as you can, and we're going to make it work for you.
I have a question.
I'll just speak on behalf of what Ryan said there. As far as Wasquan, I would say we never discourage the kids, and if they're invited to be a part of our caddy program, we're gonna be with them kind of through their career in golf, right? So okay, maybe the first year the bag's a little bit too heavy for them and we get them a push cart to use instead, and we fit them to this member or that member who's a little bit more encouraging. So we're always kind of coaching them through that. So, and again, we have some limited spots this year, but it's something where it's always an encouraging atmosphere, and the members understand that as well. So we kind of make it work. We don't kick you out or not ever be a part of, the child's career in golf and his relationship or her relationship with Wasquan. So.
My question was, if I was a little late to the meeting, and I was wondering if there's like a recording of this that like I would be able to see since I missed a little bit of it.
Yep, we are recording the session, so we'll be trying to send that out if we can. It's going to be a big file, but we'll try to get it up on YouTube so people can take a peek if they miss something. Good question. Colin, I see your hand raised. Thanks. Go ahead.
I have a funeral on Saturday, the 26th, and I can't make it to either of the meetings at Cascade or Kent. What should I do?
What you should do is you can jot down my email real quick. It's just ryan@kentcountryclub.com. I think Tyler has it as well. And then my cell phone, in case anyone needs it, you're always more than welcome to give me a call or text on cell phone, is 616-550-3984. Never feel like you're bothering me. We'll get creative with the situation. Generally, we'll kind of go over what's going to happen in training, what to wear, just general expectations of the program. So we can kind of connect via email and or phone call after this, and we'll go from there. We'll either make it up before a training date later in April, but don't feel like you're going to be excluded from the program if you can't make that original new caddy meeting. So we'll make it work.
I have another question. When is like the training and when does the training start officially?
Yeah, so we went over that I think before you joined, Harrison. So we'll send the slide deck out so you've got all the dates that you need for all the trainings at all the clubs. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
I have a question. Ryan, we live right off College, and so we're pretty close to Kent. I was wondering, does Kent offer any perks where the kids on a certain day can use the facilities or swim or anything like that?
Yep. We do offer golf privileges, and that's one thing that I actually strongly encourage. That's one way to build up your caddy skills is, if a member asks you which way does this putt break and you've never played the course, you're just not going to know. So I strongly encourage any caddy to come out and play. Don't have to if you don't want to. But those are Mondays after 4 p.m. We'll always give you snacks or get you a meal if you really need it too. Try to come prepared as much as possible. We'll have plenty of water and stuff like that, so don't feel like you need to bring your own resources or anything. But we always try to make it as easy as possible for the caddies. But no access really to the pool or anything along the way.
Okay.
Do you think that my golf season would like interfere with like the program at all, like the caddy program, or?
No, not at all. I've generally our caddy program doesn't really peak up, and I'm sure Daniel's is kind of the same way. We don't really peak up in caddy loops until about June, so which is right around when you guys get out of school. So I know we have our men's league on Thursdays in May. That's generally the only days we'll do caddy loops before June. So but we have plenty of kids who play on their local high school teams, and I strongly encourage it. Caddying is a second, as long as you're on that golf team. I want you to work on your golf game and attend as many practices as possible. So don't skip out on any matches or anything. And if those training dates don't work, then we'll be creative with it.
If he answered my question or not, it's kind of hard to hear. Oh, I'm sorry. I have a question. My question is I gotta think of how to say it now. I work until the end of Thursday. Yeah, okay. I work on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I forgot what. I think it was like Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday for the training. And I work until the end of April. Those days she won't be able to make it, but on Saturdays, I think there's a conflict of like 1 or 2 days. And I want to say it said a minimum of 3 days to get in. I just thought I would double check in case if I'm not able to have my daughter there for at least a minimum of 3 days.
Yeah, I technically put it's a recommended. If she gets out there and she sees that she's doing really well after 1 or 2, we'll kind of go from there. And then I have no problem taking.
I'm sorry, you have no problem what? I missed what you said.
Sorry,
That
can you
was
hear me
my
now?
bad, Ryan. I accidentally unmuted you. Go ahead.
You're good. Yeah, I believe the question was that you had some possible conflicts on Tuesdays and Saturdays for those trainings here. So we're very open to working around that. I'm more than happy to take them out on my own if I see the need to. We can kind of get closer to that. We can get creative with it if we need to. I'll gladly come out and on a different day, say it's a Friday that works or a Sunday that works. I will gladly take some time out of my day, as long as I know in advance that I'm able to plan it around my schedule. I'm more than happy to take them out on my own, and at the same time, as we have this slew of about 20 to 30 members who actually want to take beginner caddies, and kind of show them the ropes. We'll say, hey, this is where you stand, this is how you do this, instead of me just saying it. Where that way, that's more a lot better feedback. Kind of comparing caddying for someone like me during the training compared to actually caddying with a member who wants you to get better. So just kind of baseline, we'll make it work. That kind of goes with everything I said. I'm pretty passionate about this program, and we'll put it about any time to make sure it works for the kids.
I appreciate it. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. I just thought I would catch my bases on that.
Yeah, of course.
Any other questions from folks? Awesome. Well, I want to thank Daniel and Ryan for both being here. Really appreciate you guys' willingness to share kind of your perspective. This is my chance to plug too. Please sign up for First Tee classes this spring. You've probably received several emails from us, but our schedule is up for our spring sessions. Most of them start the week of April 18th. So we're coming up on it. We're inside a month before classes start. We should be at a course pretty close to you because you're all here because you participated at some point or another in the last year or so. So we'd love to see you back. Same prices as always, $5 for any student on free and reduced lunch. It's $80 this year for any full price participants. know that we're here to help. You're welcome to reach out to me or Taylor, our program director, who was on the call earlier. If any other questions arise, I'm happy to connect the dots if you need it. I will send out this recording and slide deck afterwards once I've got it all up and running. Expect to see that from me either tomorrow or Friday. But keep in mind, you've got 2 of these clubs. Their training date is this Saturday. So make sure that you've got that on your calendar. Blyfield in the morning at 9 a.m., Kent in the afternoon at 2 p.m. this upcoming Saturday. Those are important meetings to make sure you're a part of if you want to caddy at one of those 2 clubs. Thanks so much. I really appreciate your time. Have a great evening. Thanks for joining us, and we hope you. One final thing. Please tell me if you join a caddy program, just so I can check in. I'd love to know who's involved and how I can help. So please let me know if you end up joining or doing some of the training. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ryan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.